Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me this evening. Tonight we have another ritual for you. Have you ever been out late any night driving on a country road, or on any road for that matter? Well, if you have or haven't, this might just be the one for you if you are seeking riches beyond your wildest dreams. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the 11 miles. Enjoy. Is there something that you truly, relentlessly desire? Despite your state of life, is there something that you would go completely to the end of the world to get? Well, lucky for you, there's a way to achieve what you were looking for, and you won't need to go to the end of the world to get it, but you will need to go somewhere, and the place may be too out of reach for some. It's not far away, closer than one may believe, but there are some requirements that some individuals may not meet. First, whatever it is that you seek, know that you must seriously desire what you want. In your eyes, it should be something you need. If you begin the journey without the correct state of mind, you will surely fail, as it will be near impossible to turn back once the journey begins. The second requirement is that you will need a vehicle of sorts. Most use a car as it is the most comfortable choice, and there have been a select few that have used small motorized vehicles such as an ATV or a motorcycle, but this has proven to be quite difficult, as the conditions of your journey can prove to be quite bothersome. Do not use a vehicle that is too large or noticeable. You're going to want some of the cover of night to stay safe. Also, while any sort of car will do, you may not want to choose the most expensive or cherished vehicle. You can take your slick new black Mercedes for the drive if you'd like, but don't expect it to come out in a pristine state. Make sure your vehicle is completely fueled before you begin to drive. The first task you have to accomplish is locating the road itself. It has no name. It's not on any map, and technically it doesn't even exist. It will only show up if you're looking for it at the right time, and you will only spot it if you know what to look for. Finally, you must be completely alone during your journey. You didn't think you'd be able to bring anybody with you, did you? It must be night once you begin. Choose the time of night where you believe the roads are the least populated. Drive to any area that is just a stretch of road surrounded by trees. Here's where you want to start paying close attention. If you're looking for the road, it will eventually turn up, but you need to search for the road's hints in order to pull down the correct one. Once you're close, you will see or feel its signs, but what the signs will be depend on what it is that you desire. For example, if you're in search of wealth, you may spot shimmers on the empty branches of trees, as if they resembled the shine of gold or diamonds. If you seek love, you may begin to see rose petals slowly dancing in the light breeze, blowing in the road's direction. And if you seek revenge, you might sense an ever-growing feeling of heat or anger in your body as you approach. Just know what it is you really want, and you'll have no problem finding the turn. Once you are sure you've found the revealed road, take a deep breath and turn down onto it. At this point, you have officially started down the nameless road, which brings you through 11 miles, leading to whatever it is that you seek. Each mile will test your desire and will expose if you really do want what it is that you are searching for. But before you go any further, go ahead and stop your car, and be wary of a few advisements. Do not turn on your radio during the drive, and it is not recommended that you use your phone during the drive either. Reception would be cut anyway. Do not open the windows during the drive. Make sure they are closed before you continue any further. But If you are riding in a vehicle without windows or a top, then, well, be prepared for the worst, as the odds are stacked heavily against you. Do not leave your vehicle at any time, and you'll never want to exceed more than 30 miles per hour unless you are truly desperate to make it through a section of road. And most importantly, as with any drive, buckle up. Feel free to prepare and make sure you are ready, for once the road has been entered, time will have stopped, so you don't need to worry about losing the night. Though you may not notice, you're not actually in your own world anymore. Take one last moment to realize that once the first mile is over, there is no turning back. And if you ponder turning back at all, know that you shouldn't even be on the journey in the first place. Once all is done, continue down the road. On the first mile, you won't see much change. The road passes through mostly woods, with a few miles being an exception. The air will have turned a bit colder, in which you should turn on your heating system if your vehicle has one. You won't want to take your eyes off the road later on, so take some time to calm any uneasiness by admiring some of the night sky. You'll see it has completely lined itself with stars, more than you would have ever thought possible. Even if the weather was cloudy beforehand, you'll also notice the sky is clear at this point. On the second mile, the air will have become even colder. This is primarily the reason why traveling in an open vehicle is incredibly difficult, as with each mile the air will drop in temperature. Even if the season should be warm, if the air is too cold to bear, even with the heat on, your only option is to speed up. With each mile, the road also becomes more and more complex, taking more turns and showing an increasing amount of road hazards. Be sure to always keep focused on the road in front of you in order to avoid as many bumps as possible. Hitting a few rocks and potholes won't hamper your progress too much, but you'll want to keep in the best condition for as long as possible. If your vehicle is forced to stop at any point because of damage, then, well, there's nothing left you can do but eventually freeze to death. As you enter the third mile, you may begin to notice silhouettes of human figures in the linings of the trees. Pay them no mind. Even if they seem to grow ever closer, it will become hard to resist peeking at their unnerving distant appearance, but know that they will reveal themselves later. At this mile, the road will become dirt if you weren't driving on it in the beginning. Keep to the center of the path, as it will become narrow and wide at random intervals. On a quick side note, should you ever attempt to turn around, despite the previous warnings, you'll be left on a path that never ends. You would simply run out of fuel eventually and be left to freeze in the cold conditions. On the fourth mile, you will not only see more of the figures, but you will begin to, in a sense, hear them. In the back of your mind, a very faint, unintelligible whisper will echo. These will come and go, but you can't stop them. If they become bothersome or distracting, try to tune them out by thinking of what it is that you seek. Attempting to listen and determine what they are saying will only attract them to you, and you're gonna want them as far away as possible. They'll come closer later on, so there's no use bringing them near you this early. On the fifth mile, you will come to a clearing. The lining of trees to your left will disappear, and they will reveal a lake with no end and a beaming great moon over the water. The illumination from the moon will be so spectacular that your vehicle's headlights will no longer be required, but restrain yourself from gazing into it. If you look at its light for even more than a few seconds, the road in front of you will end, thrusting your vehicle into the water, in which you will freeze in mere moments. The voices will be gone for this mile, but don't rejoice, they will return. On the sixth mile, take into account that you're more than halfway done at this point. But despite your progress, you may lose hope here. The stars will have disappeared at this point, leaving the sky an empty black abyss. The clearing will have ended, leading you back into the woods. The only light you will have will be provided by your vehicle's headlights, but they will flicker from time to time, even if you're sure they were in perfect working order. If your vehicle has a radio in it, it will turn on at this point automatically. If you didn't turn it off beforehand, it will begin to produce an overwhelming screech that will send you off the path. A calm voice will then begin to speak about what it is that you fear most. What it is that you are truly horrified of in your life. It will speak in a way that will cause you to visualize the words in your mind. Do not listen to it. If you begin to comprehend what it is saying, the horrors will prove to be too much for you to stay on the road safely. Attempting to turn off the radio will prove no use, so speed up if you must. Just keep your mind off of the voice as much as you can as you approach the end of the mile. The voice will begin to fade out of the speakers, leaving your ears at peace for now. On the 7th mile, the voices from the figures will return. It won't sound like a whisper at this point, but more like distant screams growing closer with every moment. At this point on this mile, you'll hear one of them in your ear, as if one of them was right behind you. Well, you see, that's because somehow one of the figures have found their way into your vehicle. Do not turn around, their face will shock you into paralysis, leading you off the road. If you do not draw attention to it, it will become uninterested and hopefully leave. These beings are said to be the ones who have traveled down this road before but were unsuccessful in their endeavors. They live the remainder of their existence suffering in the darkness, with their only goal being to bring other travelers down with them. It has been said from experience that these beings cannot physically harm you, so as long as they don't cause you to wreck, you should be fine. On the 8th mile, slow down if you're going too fast. The road at this point takes very, very sharp turns, which, if overshot, will throw your vehicle into a pit through the trees. The cold at this point is near fatal. If you were to have a glass or a bottle of liquid in your vehicle, it would be solid in moments. The heating system will have completely failed you at this point, and your headlights will flicker more, sometimes shutting off for a few moments. You should brake if this were to happen, but do not completely stop. You see, the figures will be following you now, and should you stop for too long, they will surround you and trap your vehicle. More of their screams can be heard from outside your doors, sometimes even sounding of a maniacal laughter. Their hands will claw at your windows, desperate to reach in and feel something living. Do not look at them. They won't block your windshield, and the last thing you want to have happen is to be trapped here with them. If you don't make it from here, pray that it is the freezing that ends you. On the 9th mile, your vehicle will stall. The headlights will shut off, as will all other systems inside. There's nothing you can do to prevent this, so what you will need to do is close your eyes and immediately attempt to restart your vehicle. Keep your eyes closed, as the figures will have surely surrounded you at this point. The starting of the vehicle will frighten them, and they will back away temporarily. This will give you a chance to start moving forward once more. If you begin to hear the windows crack from their struggle, do not lose focus. The beings can alter your vehicle, but remember, they still do not have the strength to physically affect you. You will hear nothing but their voices rampaging in your mind, as there could be anywhere between a dozen to 100 after you at this point. Once your vehicle starts, floor it as long as you can stay on the path. When this mile is finished, the beings will retreat back into the darkness. On the 10th mile, the voices of the beings will stop. If you were to look in your rear view mirror, I wouldn't recommend doing this. You will see them following you, but not as if they are chasing. They're watching you, as if they were seeing you off. As you go down the 10th mile, the road will become smoother, as if you were back on the first mile once more. The figures will be lining the sides of the path ahead of you, but they won't be after you. They'll just watch you as you pass. Some have theorized that the beings are impressed at this point, that you've come a long way on your journey to what it is that you seek. This is false. They're not impressed, but they are happy. Yes, they're happy that you're about to approach the next mile. They are happy because you are most likely going to your death. On the 11th and final mile, everything in your vehicle will lose power as it did on the 9th mile, but yet the vehicle is still moving. An unknown force will be pulling you forward, and in the darkness, you will see a glowing red light up ahead, slowly getting larger as if you were moving closer and closer to the end of a tunnel. Close your eyes, cover them, do whatever it takes to make sure that you do not see what you are about to go through. Covering your ears would also be helpful, but keeping your eyes covered should be the higher priority. The red light is another clearing, but there's no moon or lake this time. Once entered, unrelenting and inconceivable noises will sound from all directions. No amount of bravery or conditioning will spare you from these sounds. The cold will turn into a merciless heat, burning all parts of the vehicle. You will feel the illusion of your flesh being burned off of your bones, that every part of you is being destroyed as you travel through screams and audible suffering. As long as you keep your eyes closed and resist the urge to see where it is you are, you will survive through the suffering. This will last a total of 31 seconds, but many fail to keep their vision closed during that time and are left to the worst fate of the road. Where is this mile located? Those who have survived do not know, and some have named it the transition from hell. Whether it is part of hell is debatable. After the final mile, power will return. Go ahead and stop your vehicle and take a moment to possibly regain some of your sanity. Let the screaming in your ears begin to fade and know that you're nearly done with your journey and the hardest task has been overcome. Breathe and begin to drive forward once more. After only a kilometer or so, your vehicle will arrive at a dead end. Stop here and don't attempt to move again. Nothing will happen right this second, but don't be disappointed. Relax and close your eyes. And imagine in your mind what it is that you've desired the entire time. It will most likely still be the same as when you entered, but with some, this desire may actually change through making this journey. Think about what it is that you went through such a terrifying and difficult means to acquire, and imagine possessing it in your hands. Once you have completely visualized this, slowly open your eyes once more. You will then find yourself at the beginning of the unnamed road when you first began. This may confuse you, but know that you're finished. Your task is done. Your mind will then turn to your reward. If what you desired was material, then go ahead and check in the back seat or possibly in the trunk if it's larger. If the object was small enough, it may already be in your pocket. If what you desired was non-material, then don't be disappointed if the change is not immediate. Turn back to where you came from, and you will find in your life that what you wanted is there. You may have found the love of your dreams, or you may have gained unnatural, unimaginable power. You may have put your most hated enemy to the most satisfying revenge possible. You will have no doubt gained what you deserved. So, now that the task is done, what's the catch? Is your vehicle cursed? Is there something you are going to lose? Is your death imminent? Well, the answer to all this is no. Of course, you've done the challenge. You've proved you're worthy of what it is you desire. As stated before, the sounds of the 11th mile will continue to exist in your mind, potentially causing you some vivid and unusual nightmares, but they should prove as nothing compared to what you've gained. Now, one last question. Is there something else you seek Are you not yet satisfied? I mean, after all, you are right back right where you started. The road is right in front of you. So, ask yourself a question. Are you up for another ride? Well, if so, seat in, buckle up, and move forward.